Somewhere out there is an anime where women fight for prize money by launching each other off floating platforms, using only their butts and their chests. No hands allowed. The attacks have names like
The vacuum butt cannon. How many can she do? Vacuum butt cannon. And put them in my arsenal! Gain a booty line! Holy friggin' crap, her nips are beaming!
the animation knows exactly how ridiculous it looks, and it leans into that on purpose. And somehow, I need you to actually sit with this for a second. Somehow, this is one of the better sports anime I've watched in years. You can either learn astronomy or bubology. Not good for what it is, not so bad it's good. Structurally, emotionally, competitively, good. The kind of good where you forget what the sports look like and just start caring who wins.
Attack on Titan!
So today, I want to make a serious case for Keijo because underneath a premise built to make you laugh, there's a show that understands something a lot of respectable sports anime forget. The sport is only half the story. The other half is watching someone become an athlete. Keijo nails that half, aside from the fan service. But before you can believe me, you have to see the part almost nobody expects going in. This show has an actual competitive world built underneath the jokes. Here's the first thing that caught me off guard. This isn't girls go to a wacky school and fight. Sitochi Keijo Training School runs like a real athletic institution. There's an entrance exam you can fail. There's an elite class you have to earn your way into and can get demoted right back out of. There's a curriculum, academic and behavioral standards, and a dropout rate that's treated as genuine threat, not a punchline. Fighters get sorted into real fighting styles. There are training camps. There's competition between entire schools. None of that needed to exist. A show built purely on shock value doesn't need entrance exams and elite class politics. Keiju built them anyway. And that one choice matters more than it sounds like it should. Because it means this ridiculous sport has stakes. And stakes are the entire engine of a sports anime. Without them, you just have people doing tricks. With them, you have a reason to be nervous. Which raises the real question. If the stakes are real, is the training actually real too? Short answer, yes. And it's the part that actually convinced me this show knew what it was doing. Keiju could have gotten away with training montages that are just funny poses to set music. Instead, one of the show's real mantras is learn about your body, go beyond your absolute limit. What is it? Is this My Hero Academia Go Beyond Plus Ultra? That's not a punchline. That's the same philosophy you'd hear in Haikyuu or Hajime no Ippo, just wearing a much stranger costume. Take Nozomi's signature move, the vacuum butt cannon. On paper, I think it's a joke. The name alone does half the work. But the show doesn't just hand it to her. It gives the move mechanics. It puts real strain on her hips and joints. It's demanding enough that even professionals struggle to control it. And there's a legitimate reason most players avoid it entirely. So the story around it isn't Nozomi unlocks a super move. It's Nozomi wants this technique, and her body isn't ready for it yet. That's not a gag. That's character progression built on the exact same risk reward logic every good training arc runs on. And that logic is what quietly turns this from a show about a ridiculous sport into a show about one specific person chasing something that could genuinely hurt her to get. Which is where the show stops being funny for a second and starts being about her. This is where I stopped watching Keijo ironically and started watching it because I actually cared what happened to Nozomi Kaminashi. She hates losing. That's not a personality quirk, it's the entire engine of her arc. She loses to Hanabi Kawai during the entrance exam, and it eats at her. She throws herself into training. Obsessively, she gets selfish about it. Competitive in a way that starts isolating her from the people around her, though not literally. And then, slowly, she starts actually seeing the people she's competing against and with. Her time training under Kyoko Shirayuki, Kyoto's so-called missile lady, is a huge part of that shift. Shirayuki doesn't just teach her a new technique. She hands Nozumi a completely different way of thinking about why you compete at all. You can map her whole arc in 4 lines. I want to win, then I need to become stronger. Then after she keeps losing anyway, why am I losing? And finally, maybe winning isn't the only reason I'm doing this. The emotional shape of every great sports anime protagonist, Kuroko, Hinata, Ippo, all of them. Keijo just dressed it up in a swimsuit and let you laugh at the outfit long enough that the arc could sneak up on you. And there's one line buried in the middle of all of this that I think is the thesis of the entire show. Said by Kawai, of all people, you need a reason. Because once Nozomi actually has one, the show can't stay small anymore. It has to get bigger. Up to this point, everything has been personal. Nozomi versus her own results, Nozomi versus Kawai, Nozomi versus her own body. Then Keijo zooms all the way out and introduces the East-West War. There are two major Keiju schools in the country: Sitoshi, Nozomi School in the west, and Suruga in the east. Suruga has dominated this rivalry for years. This isn't a filler tournament bolted on for length. It's the natural next step of everything already built. Individual becomes team. Team becomes rivalry. Rivalry becomes a national stage. Nozumi to Sitochi to Suruga to the East-West War. That's not a random escalation. That's the exact ladder you'd expect from Haikyuu or Kuroko's Basketball or Slam Dunk or Hajime no Ippo. Keijo just built the same structure and put a completely different sport underneath it. And once the stage gets that big, the show can't hide behind the joke anymore. It has to actually justify why any of this is dangerous, or fair, or worth watching. Which brings us to the part I was the most skeptical about. Let's just say it, because you're already thinking it. The power scaling in the show is based on butts and breasts. That sentence is never not going to sound ridiculous. The show knows it. But here's the thing about power scaling in general. The absurdity was never what made it good or bad. What actually makes power scaling work in any series is whether you understand what an ability does, why it works, what its weakness is, who's capable of using it, what it costs, and how the protagonist grow toward using it herself or himself. Keiju checks every one of those boxes. Fighter gets sorted into real archetypes, in-fighters, out-fighters, counter-types, the same kind of framework you'd find in a real combat sports breakdown. Every ridiculous move gets a real weakness, a real cost, a real counter. So here's the joke that quietly becomes an achievement. Keiju takes something completely absurd and gives it enough internal logic that you stop laughing at it and start reading it like a real fight. That's the exact moment the show wins you over. Well, I hope so. Whether you wanted it to or not. And once you've bought into that logic, the show finally lets you cash it in. Satoshi hasn't won the East West War in 10 years. I want you to actually sit with that number. Because the entire runtime has been building toward it. Satoshi loses. Nozomi hates losing. Nozomi trains. Nozomi fails. Nozomi finally works out what competing is actually for, her origin. And then, finally, Satoshi breaks a 10-year losing streak. If you skip straight to the moment with zero context, it's just a school winning a tournament. Mildly satisfying, forgotten by next episode, but because you watched Nozomi lose and rebuild her entire relationship with competition to get here, it lands an actual sports anime climax. The kind that gets people yelling at their screen. That's the payoff for every single choice this show made that I've just spent 5 minutes explaining. The entrance exam, the training strain, the kawaii rivalry, perhaps, the East-West culture. All of it was building toward this one win. Well, I genuinely hope that the anime follows the manga, which is exactly why what happens next stings a little. Keiju finishes the exact structure a sports anime is supposed to finish: student, training, tournament, rivalry, team competition, major victory, then being professional. On paper, that's a complete story. And then, right as that victory lands, the show starts pointing towards something bigger. And then, right as that victory lands, the show starts pointing towards something bigger. The professional world Nozomi hasn't even stepped into yet. And that's where it ends. Here's the reframe I want you to take from this. Keijo doesn't feel incomplete because the anime failed to finish its story. It feels incomplete because it finished its story so well that the world it built suddenly looked bigger than the 12 episodes it had to tell it in. That's not the same complaint as I wish we got a season 2. It's closer to watching someone finally win their first real trophy and realizing in that exact moment that the trophy was just the entry ticket to a much bigger competition. The show ends right as the stakes are about to get interesting again. That's not a failure. That's a story that outgrew its own runtime. So let's go back to the question I opened with. How does an anime about women fighting with their butts and chests accidentally become one of the better sports anime out there? Because the sports itself was never actually the point. The point was everything sitting underneath it: the losing, the training, the rivalry, the teamwork, the slow and humiliating process of finding your reason to compete, and finally, earning a win that 10 years of history said you weren't supposed to get. That's what Keijo understands. And it's what a lot of respectable sports anime quite land. Your sport doesn't have to be realistic for the anime to work. And look, recommending Keijo is probably the strangest recommendation I've ever made on this channel. I can't exactly tell you. Trust me, just ignore the fan service. The fan service is the sport. There's no separating them. But underneath all of it, somehow, Keijo understood sports anime better than most shows ever gave it credit for. And I think that's worth more respect than the premise ever let it learn. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.